We're back. The Democratic primary up here in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania pits the incumbent, Senator Arlen Specter, who was a Republican for 30 years. He's now a Democrat against Joe Sestak, who's always been a Democrat. This week, Specter went negative. It wasn't a surprise, but it's pretty tough stuff. Let's watch this ad. Pay attention. Here's the ad.
Joe Sestak, relieved of duty in the Navy for creating a poor command climate. Joe Sestak, the worst attendance of any Pennsylvania congressman, and near the bottom of the entire Congress. Last year alone, Sestak missed 127 votes. Sestak says the missed votes weren't important. He went campaigning instead. Let's say no to No-Show Joe.
I don't know where they find those creepy announcers, but that's a pretty creepy ad. That's Congressman Joe Sestak. I had to congratulate you, sir, for keeping your sanity during this race. But you must have known, going up against Arlen Specter, now you got 4 weeks to... This is going to come. He did it to Joe Hoffel. He's done it to Lynn Yackel. Everyone who's ever ran against him, he is destroyed. He doesn't just run against you. He prosecutes you. He makes you the bad guy. You are evil at the end of these races. You must have known this was coming. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm going to find it hard to believe that the leaders of my Democratic Party aren't already on the phone to Arlen Specter. I mean, remember what Joe Biden said. I support Barack Obama because he doesn't try to perfect the politics of swift voting. He seeks to end them. And I think that everybody's pretty obvious that what Arlen Specter has done is reverted to old Republican-style politics. But now he's in the Democratic Party. You know, let me give you a quote. I so remember when Barack Obama, as a candidate, said, "I love this country too much to let him steal another election by lies like this one, outrageous, phony assertions, swift voting." And, you know, they did this to Max Cleland, who lost his limbs in Vietnam. They did it to John Kerry. No, all veterans aren't going to stand for this absolute false assertion that he has made. You don't get to be a three-star admiral, get to lead the Navy's anti-terrorism unit, get to command an aircraft carrier battle group without having a distinguished career. Arlen Specter, you know, it is time, without a question, for the change in politics of a Republican and who's a Democrat in name only. I don't think my party leadership is going to tacitly
Well,
stand
you're
by
optimistic. Let me ask you this. Do you think some of the people watching that ad we just watched think you were Section 8? That you had a problem? You were relieved of duty for some personal reason? That's what he's saying, that you had a problem. Section 8, whatever you want to call it. What's relieved of duty mean to you? To me, it means you couldn't do the job. You had a problem, mental, emotional, whatever, and you couldn't do the job, so they took it away from you. That's what Arlen's saying about you.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious right now that the verdict on Arlen Specter is he's not fit to be the United States Senator, and that's why he's going to be relieved of command. Look, Arlen Specter's verdict's already been made, and you know it. You've seen the Rasmussen poll. We're in a dead heat. You've seen other polls where many are undecided. I can respect Arlen Specter for his service, but not for these outrageous lies and the things he's saying now. No, you know, Pennsylvanians, Chris, its time has come to change politics, and you saw Massachusetts say it. Pox on both your houses down there. If you don't change politics, we're in this for principle, and there's too many principles in our Democratic Party to welcome Arlen Specter's negative tactics.
Well, look, I'm not going to take sides, but let me just tell you what I know about politics. If you're in office 45 years like Arlen, and you've been a senator for 30 years with a good record and you want to defend, you think it's a good record, but yet you got to run ads about your opponent saying he was relieved of duty and he's a skunk, basically, a Section 8. There must be something showing up in your polling that's telling you have to do this. Now, you've got the Rasmussen poll. That's a poll that the only one. All the other polls got you 15 points out. You think you're going to win this one when he's running this negative stuff?
You know, you also saw there was another poll, I've forgotten the name, just after Rasmussen poll, where I closed 14 points from 3 weeks before. No, you know as well as I do. He said he wasn't going to go up on TV till I did, and then those two polls came up. He started a week ago. He's running scared. He ran from Pat Toomey. So the only thing he can do, because he has no accomplishments other than supporting George Bush 4 out of 5 times. And don't get me wrong, he's done some things like NIH funding, but what's he going to do? Say, I'm a Democrat and argue with me on policy? No way. Look, Arlen Specter, let's thank him for his service. But this negativity, and Chris, we know it's tough in politics. Think about the 7 or 8 people who thought they would get in to run against him and never did for various reasons, including they knew this is what Arlen did. I got in this race, though, despite all that, because I honestly do believe it's time for a change where people can trust somebody. Here he is giving Rick Santorum his vote saying
let me ask you.
I'll support George Bush's nominees for the Supreme Court Justice if Rick Santorum will give me his endorsement. What a shame to give away one's independent vote.
Do you think Pennsylvanians would rather have a really nasty customer like that ad shows Arlen to be? Or they'd rather have somebody like you that's sort of St. Francis, a nice guy? Do you think the public doesn't want some real tough customer down like Arlen? Arlen's been called Snarlin' Arlen because he's very tough. But the fact is, there he is, and you're saying nice things about him. So if you say some nice things about him, he won't say anything nice about you. Do you know the uneven nature of this battle?
Look, when I was on the ground in Afghanistan as head of the Navy's anti-terrorism unit for a short period, with my aircraft carrier command, and we were doing retaliatory strikes over Afghanistan or strikes, there's no one who's not going to call me tough. But do my results oriented? Have I increased the small business contracts into my district threefold in 3 years? Do we take care of people and move money in auto? Absolutely. But the results of Arlen Specter is Pennsylvania's job creation has been half the national average of 30 years. Toughness, no, yes. But results also, Chris. Results.
Senator Specter, I have to offer you, Senator Specter, if you want to come on and defend the charge that this fellow was relieved of command, the very words you used, if you want to back them up on the air, because I think it does imply a real problem, but I don't think the evidence supports it. But if you want to make the case, Senator, come on in and blast the guy personally, not just through a paid ad. Anyway, thank you very much, Senator Joe Sestak. Congressman, there was a
No, I appreciate it, Senator.
When we return, that was an accident. When we return, it must be the Rasmussen Poll in my head.